Good morning, Oakland Center for Spiritual Living and Family and Friends. Good morning to all of our virtual viewers, wherever you may be. Thank you for being with us this beautiful Sunday morning. Please join with us as we sing this opening congregational song, We Let It Be. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. Many pray along the way. They don't stop to wonder what the world is coming to. They let something higher reveal the way to greater love. Oh yeah. So the truth is telling me, sing of liberation for the ones who are not free. Love can take us higher, reveal the way to greater love. Oh yeah, so we let it wash over us and hold us together. We let it make us kinder. We let it be. We let it early in the morning. It'll lift us higher and hold us together. We let it be. We let it. And we cry along the way, walking through the sadness for the ones that need to know. Love can take us higher, reveal the way to greater love. Oh, so the truth keeps telling me love's the only answer. So to all humanity, we can stay inspired, reveal the way to greater love. Oh yeah, so we let it wash over us. We let it hold us together. We let it make us kinder. We let it be. We let it early in the morning lift us higher, hold us together. We let it be. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. Yeah, sing it with me. We let the joy wash over us. We let it be. Yeah, the joy, the peace. We let the peace wash over us. Oh, and now I need to introduce the wonderful Robert Leeds. Robert.
Thank you so much. I love that song. Thanks to our brilliant musicians today, Kenneth Cozy Arrington, the traveling voice, and the fierce Deb Santa Maria on keyboards. Good morning. My name is Robert Leeds. Welcome to the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living, where neither rain, nor snow, nor heat, nor wind like yesterday, nor gloom of COVID will stop us from teaching spiritual principles and practices that nourish us, uplift us, and celebrate our oneness with all of life. Welcome from Zoomlandia. Yes, we've jumped back into the virtual world for a brief stay. We hope to be back in person, all things being well, sometime in February, but you know how fluid this pandemic situation has been, so hang in there with us. Our first concern is always the health and well-being of our community. A special welcome to those of you who are joining us for the very first time. If we were in person, we'd have you raise your hand and an usher would bring you a welcome packet. But in lieu of that, if you'd like to connect with us, please send an email to Constance Chapman, our administrative coordinator. Her email is constance@oaklandcsl.org. Now let's take a moment to bless our wonderful children, wherever they are. Oh, there's a slide with our fabulous musicians. And here comes our children. We honor all our youth and children in our community and the world. We love you. We see you. You are Spirit's gift to us. Thank you for being in our lives, and so it is. I want to share with you some of the inspiring activities coming your way. This coming Wednesday, the 26th, January 26th, practitioner Judith Roberts will be speaking on the topic, Question Everything. Should I be questioning if Judith will actually be speaking on that? The logical paradoxes are endless. Meditation is at 6:30, service is at 7 p.m. Wednesday services have never stopped being on Zoom. Speaking of Zoom, please note that the password for both the Wednesday and Sunday services has been changed to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you can count to 6, no, 5, 6. I left off the 6. If you can count to 6, which obviously I can't, you can join us. It is all numerical and is the same whether you're calling in or joining by computer. The Diversity Circle is back after a well-deserved break. On Friday, January 28th at 7 p.m., join our guest speaker, Reverend Susan Strauss, to discuss the intrafaith conversation. Interfaith dialogues and activities are happening all around us, which is wonderful. What's largely missing, however, is conversations among those of the same spiritual tradition. Discussions where we wrestle with internal issues or things with which we don't all agree are just as important. Every tradition has something to talk about. The intrafaith conversation is for those who want to identify their elephant in the living room and learn how to dialogue about it respectfully, creatively, and compassionately. Let's start the new year from the core, talking about ourselves, who we are, and what we believe. Reverend Susan is a pastor in the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America. This is by Love Offering, and details on the events page of our website if you want to learn more. A special shout out for our monthly nonprofit partner. We're so pleased to partner with Hively for the month of January. We'll be hearing more from them later today in the service. Hively believes that everyone should have the resources and support they need to feel cared for, supported, and able to thrive. OCSL is partnering with Hively for the month of January to collect non-perishable foods, and diaper sizes 1 through 5T are especially appreciated. I know we've gotten several boxes of those already. There's a collection barrel located outside the social hall, and we'll be collecting donations until January 30th. Thank you all for your generosity. Save the date. The season of nonviolence begins January 30th, and our team is planning some great events. If you're not familiar with the season of nonviolence, it is inspired by the work of Mohandas Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., Cesar Chavez, and others to create an empowered, nonviolent world. Watch the Village News next week for details. I want to quickly mention that you may have seen an email from me recruiting for additional hosts, what I'm doing right now. It's a fun way to serve the community. Contact me if you're interested. Finally, the end of the year giving statements are going into email inboxes early next week, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Check our e-newsletter, The Village News, for links to these and other activities. And as always, for information on all that's going on at your Oakland Center, visit our website, oaklandcsl.org. Now, please read along with me as we read our vision and mission statement, if you want to dance to it as well. The vision of the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living is to joyfully reveal the love and oneness of God. We are a welcoming and inclusive spiritual community dedicated to individual transformation and collective growth. Our purpose is to love, inspire, and serve our community and the world through education, music, prayer, and play. And so it is. Have a great week. And I'm turning it over to our pulpit assistant, Elena Hutchinson.
Thank you. Good morning. I am Elena Hutchinson. I'm your pulpit assistant for today. As we invite our new minister in, not in person yet, but in consciousness, I invite you to join me in reading aloud our new minister's sacred covenant. We'll have a slide in a moment, and if you want to mute your microphones, please feel free to read aloud with me. There is only one life. This life is good. This life is God. This life is my life now. In knowing that I am one with this life that is God, I therefore know that I am one with all of its blessed expressions, which includes the presence of a new minister for my beloved spiritual community. Because I know that the highest purpose of my new minister is to reveal spirit, I therefore know that my new minister is a revelation of God as wisdom. I further know that my new minister is the fulfillment of that which has been promised by Spirit, for it is written, I am filled with divine wisdom. I allow divine mind to fill my mind now. Jan Levanzant. As I stand in agreement with my beloved community, I see my new minister revealed before me as unity in the community. I now intend to experience my new minister in full cooperation and agreement with my community, knowing this truth about myself, for I am inspiring unity and diversity, embracing and nourishing our community. I am awakening the wisdom within. I am healing and expanding our community with the power of love. I'm engaging the community in building a world that works for everyone. I am deepening family consciousness. As I now accept the highest expression of a new minister into my life, I know that they are revealed in a way that illumines spirit and serves the highest and greatest good of all who are touched by their presence. I am grateful. God is gracious. And so it is. Ashe. Our theme for the month is Living Everyday Wonder, and our theme for the week is Question Everything. We have 2 readings for today. Please allow yourself to settle into whatever space you are occupying in whatever way allows you to best receive these words. First, from our founder, Ernest Holmes. Through spiritual discernment, we see that we have within us a power that is greater than anything we shall ever contact, a power that can overcome every obstacle in our experience. And our second reading is from Jacqueline Winspear. Truth walks toward us on the paths of our questions. Wait a while in the stillness and do not rush to conclusions, no matter how uncomfortable the unknowing. So now let us allow whatever those words have evoked in us to find a resting place somewhere in our consciousness as we move into prayer. There is only one presence, one power, one beingness of light and love, the source of all wisdom, that one knowingness that holds the answers to all the questions. It is the power that holds up the sky spins the planets on their axes, scoops the tides out of the oceans, turns tiny buds into explosions of color, creates eyes that can see and ears that can hear. It is that consciousness that invites us to be curious, to explore, to play, to open to taking the paths not taken, paths that lead to our heart's delight or to greater and greater expressions of ourselves, paths that lead to oneness, wholeness, abundance, peace. It is life itself. It is my life. As I know this for myself, I know it for every person here, every person who is across time and space participating in this service, every person who hears the sound of my voice, and every person everywhere. Each one of us is simply a spark in that one mind, alive because the power of that one mind flows in through and as us. I bless each person who's contributed to bringing this service to us and the service itself, knowing that every word spoken will simply be a vehicle for Spirit to reveal itself to us. I bless Rev Champion as they reveal Spirit's invitation to us to live the questions. I bless Rev Jerry as she holds our community with love, with steadiness and resolve, inspiring us with her vision of our highest and best. I bless all of our practitioners and all of our other volunteers and every person who offers their energy and their presence to the life of our village. As I speak my word for this community, I know that we are blessed. I know that even in times of seeming difficulty or uncertainty in our lives, in our communities, or in the world, we are able to find our footing in the certainty of the truth that is revealed to us and through us, that no mere circumstance can change who and whose we are. I know that our grounding in truth is solid enough, our faith deep enough, that we can ask new questions without fear, trusting that Spirit is for us, not against us, trusting that Spirit stands ready to meet every need, provide for every contingency, trusting that as we ask the question and take the next step, Spirit is pointing our feet in the right direction, smoothing the path before us, and providing warm baked goods for the trip. I am so grateful that Spirit knows nothing but goodness and givingness. I speak my word knowing that it is not my word alone, but the word of God, the power of God, speaking truth through me. I let go. I let God. And I invite you to join me as we say, and so it is. Now our next step is to turn this over to our fabulous musicians, Cozy Arrington and the fierce Deb Santa Maria.
I think about the life I live, a figure made of clay, and think about the things I lost, the things I gave away. And when I'm in a certain mood, I search the halls and look. One night I found the magic words in a magic book. Throw There's a hand that rocks the cradle and a hand to help us stand with a gentle kind of motion as it moves across the land. And the hand that's unclenched and open, it's some love and God it brings. So keep your hand wide open if you're needing anything. Throw it away. Throw it away. Give your love, live your life each and every day, and keep your hand wide open. Let the sun shine through, 'cause you can never lose a thing if it belongs to you. It away, just throw it away. Live your life, give your love each and every day. Keep your hand wide open. Let the love come through, 'cause you can never lose a thing if it belongs to you. You can never lose a thing if it belongs to you. You can never lose a thing if it belongs to you. Throw it away. And now, Reverend Jerry.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much. I just wanted to get up and salsa. That was so beautiful. Thank you, Deb and Cozy, for gracing us with your beautiful creative expression today. And today is an amazing day. This whole week has been amazing. Our annual conference was this past week, and although I wasn't there in person, I feel so uplifted and so energized by what I experienced virtually. And speaking of virtually, I am very honored today to invite our guest speaker, who's really no guest. Reverend Champion Fleming has been with us at other times on Wednesdays and Sunday, and she's Reverend Champion has such an amazing ability to inspire. And what I want to say, Reverend Champion, is that we were on the spiritual journey of Holmes Institute together, and that is where I really want to appreciate you, not only for being a colleague, but for being a great teacher of mine. You've left an imprint on me. And so I'm so honored to have you with us today. And before we bring Reverend Champion to the platform, I do want to share a bio with you so that you'll know how amazing this minister of our teaching is. Reverend Champion Fleming is an organized change consultant and leadership development coach. Champion's clients include national nonprofits, labor unions, and spiritual communities who are dedicated to collective healing and liberation. Champion is currently launching a CSL focus ministry called Magnificence Collective with Reverend Ruth Littlejohn, which is designed to support ecclesiastical and board leadership teams in maximizing their spiritual and business potential. Reverend Champion identifies as white, trans, and gender expansive. Reverend Champion is inspired by the idea that small groups can create big change. They believe when we engage life with intention and a sense of possibility, wonders may never cease. So now I welcome Reverend Champion to our virtual platform.
Thank you so much, Reverend Jerry. You should all know that Reverend Jerry was one of my mentors in ministerial school, and they helped keep me very organized. It's great to be with you. I'm dialing in from Oakland, California today. And as we gather today, we're looking at 3 weeks into our Gregorian New Year. And we're back on Zoom because of Omicron. And we're just facing a lot of interruptions. I have to say, I had to deal with some disappointment of not being in person with you today, up on the hill in your beautiful space with your beautiful stained glass and just being in the presence of people. So I know many of us are looking at loss and change and disappointment and so much happening in the world things that we just didn't necessarily choose for ourselves. Things that can make us feel like something's wrong or we can feel separate from each other, from the divine. This is a time that we're really having to dig deep in our spiritual practice and realize the truth of who we are, whose we are, and what we are. And so as we move into this talk today, I'm asking us to consider, what if everything was a miracle? What if we could drop our resistance, our judgment, our fear? And what if we lived our lives as if everything was a miracle? After all, miracles are just the logical and necessary outcome of engaging spiritual laws through consistent practice. Miracles are everyday, normal occurrences. What if all we had to do was to ask, what if, in order to unleash some miracles in our lives? And so today we're talking about questions, of questioning everything. And I'm lifting the practice of asking questions as a way to cultivate a miracle consciousness. When I was a minister in training at Centers for Spiritual Living Davis, the senior minister at the time was Reverend Sarah Nichols. And when I started there, she told me, questions are the new affirmations. And it's really since that time that I started using the practice of questions in my daily practice. Because when we ask questions, what we're really doing is we're asking life to engage with us. We're saying to life, I'm ready to receive. Questions keep us open to possibility, and they can kind of like just shift our mindset and relieve the pressure or stress or judgment that we may be holding and carrying about a circumstance that we're experiencing. One of the core beliefs in Science of Mind, one of the statements in our Declaration of Principles is, we believe in the direct revelation of truth through our intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. One way to be in close contact is through asking questions. One way to be a revealer of truth is to be ready to receive. So that this inquiry, this practice of questions is a sacred practice. And we're engaging all that the divine is. And we're asking for support, we're asking for guidance, we're asking to be used. And we know in this philosophy that spirit wants nothing more than to pour itself through us as wisdom, intelligence. And for us to express this wisdom in our lives, in our families, and in our community. And so as we look at questions as a practice, we want to look at sort of the vibration or the quality of the question. And instead of saying, why is this happening to me? We want to say, what if? What if there's something amazing in this for me? And can you feel that difference? Of why are we back on Zoom? Why is this variant so intense? Or rather, we say, what if there's something in this for me? What if this really is a miracle? And in that question, we're creating an atmosphere of possibility. It's tender, it's loving, it's open. And in that moment that we ask, what if this is a really amazing thing? We can let go of resistance and cynicism. We can surrender our judgment and allow whatever is happening to fully happen. And when we ask what if, we aren't denying the challenges. We're asking a question that can open us to the truth of who we are, that we are divine beings with all the power that created worlds within us. Many years ago, when I was a practitioner in training, I had a roommate and I was living in Oakland. I lived down sort of in Temescal, Golden Gate area of Oakland. And I had a roommate who was, I don't know what was up, but she kept leaving the doors open. I'd come home and the window would be open to the street. And it was so persistent and it was happening so much that the cops would show up, right? So, if you have an alarm system and the sensor goes off, then the alarm company calls you. And if you're not there to answer the call, the alarm company calls the police and the police are dispatched to your home. And sort of whatever the physics are in my house, if the wind would blow just a certain way and the back door was left unlocked, it would blow open, which would trip a sensor. Then I'd get a call. And if I missed a call, I would on occasion arrive at my house with some police at my house checking it out, right? And one time I came in and there was a cop sitting on my couch petting my dog. And if you have an alarm system, that if you get the police dispatched to your house and there's no problem, it's just an error, you have to pay the city of Oakland money. And so we were paying the city of Oakland a lot of money on a regular basis. And for some reason, my roommate just couldn't lock things up, couldn't leave the house without leaving something open. And my friends and my spiritual friends, they were like, what is up? You're going to have to go in there with your hand on your hip and you're going to have to tell her, what are you doing? Don't you know Oakland is a high crime city? And don't you know you're putting us at risk? And other friends are saying, you got to kick her out. I mean, don't you go on next door and don't you see all the crime happening in your neighborhood? And don't you know she shouldn't be doing this? You are in danger. But instead I said, what if? What if leaving the doors and windows open in Oakland, California is in fact evidence of just how safe we are? What if it is proof that we are divinely protected? That we are living in the midst of divine safety, divine protection, that we are so cared for, so surrounded by love, so held by the divine. What if? And so I made so instead of kicking her out or sitting her down, I got out, I did a little vision board. I see that your vision board session is postponed right now, but I hope you can get together and do this because it is so powerful. So I sat down and I made a collage and I got out all the little images that represented her energetic spirit, her wild hair, all the ways she had been generous toward me. And when we do that, when we sit in a practice, the mind turns off and we're just in a creative moment. So I created this and I stuck it to the door of her bedroom with a note that said, I love you. And when she came home, she wept. She absolutely wept. She said, how did you know that I needed this? I've been having such a rough time lately. And then I called the alarm company and I canceled the service. And I just lived into the answer of the what if. Because the truth to that question is, I am divinely protected. That I am absolutely safe. That I live the miracle of divine protection in an urban center. And I wonder what is bubbling up for you as I recount this story. Are you feeling like, not really, that's crazy? Or yes, absolutely. The miracle of this is to know divine protection. And what would life look like if we lived as if everything was a miracle? What would life look like if we asked more what if questions? Albert Einstein said we can live life as if nothing is a miracle or as if everything is a miracle. And for me, being non-binary, that's a bit of a binary statement, either or, nothing, everything. But I do want to live as if everything is a miracle. And so how, when I'm not feeling that, do I get myself back to that place of possibility, of openness, of curiosity, of ready to receive? And so I love this month because the theme is wonder. And I have always called myself a wonder wanderer. And so this last August, I took off in Oakland and I drove all the way through Canada to the East Coast. And then this December, I was in upstate New York on a romantic getaway, and I tested I tested positive for COVID, and everything was canceled. Like my trip was canceled, my romantic getaway was canceled, everything was canceled. And if I'm going to live as if everything is a miracle, then how is it true that being solo in the snow in upstate New York with a positive COVID test, how is that? How is that a miracle? Well, it started by realizing that even though I was alone, I was in fact all one. Alone is all one. I was one with the divine. And I had the space and time to quarantine. And I was sitting on this couch on this lake, watching it freeze and thaw and freeze and thaw, and just wondering, I'm here with my car and COVID in upstate New York, and all I want is to be home in Oakland. And so it was really challenging to get to a what if, to get to a question that was going to support my healing and my capacity to drive home. And so I decided, I remembered that Florence Scovel Shinn book, The Game of Life and How to Play It. And I decided I was going to have to play a game to get home, to get to a space where I could drive myself home. I was going to have to get into a game, right? So I decided to play Opposites Day. When my nephews were in elementary school, they would have this day where it was called Opposites Day. And they would put their clothing on backwards. They would sit in someone else's seat. They would have, instead of going in and having, you know, their snack time, they would have like hamburgers for breakfast and then breakfast for lunch. And it was just absolutely turning everything upside down, front to back, in reverse. And what if I could just say, okay, this is Opposites Day. Clearly, getting COVID in snowy upstate New York is a miracle. What if getting COVID for me is a miracle? And then as I drove cross country, I just tried to keep myself in a state of awe. I drove on small roads instead of major highways. I drove all the way back from upstate New York to Oakland. Very little highway, mostly just small towns, little roads, keeping myself in a state of wonder and awe. And just in this feeling of what if Omicron is evidence of our oneness with each other? These variants get easier and easier to pass and get. Clearly, it's showing us that we are one. And what if this is a time to dream, to daydream, to imagine a future where we care so deeply about each other, that we learn the capacity to care at a level we've never cared for each other at, especially strangers, especially people we don't know? What if in this pandemic, we are unleashing the power of love at a deeper level than we have ever experienced? What if we begin to express this love like the prophets and the saints that came before us? And we've got to know that if there is a new, revised, and updated version of the Bible, surely we are getting a gospel. We are getting a full-on gospel with our experience of what we have seen and what we have come through. So what if? What if we live this year as it is exactly what it's supposed to be? And what if we live in a state of love and such deep tenderness for ourselves and each other that there is so much transformation at the end of this? What if we live into our power as divine beings? What if we are in a state of surrendering to how love and power weave and we create the world that we really want to see? I mean, this is what's guiding us. This is what's guiding your community, all CSL communities, is this idea that we can create the world that works for everyone. And what if this is sending us to a place where that really happens? What if we live our lives as if we are ready to receive? What if these questions we ask continue to inspire us, inspire our families, and inspire our communities? So I'm going to ask you this week to play with this practice. I love that play is part of your vision statement. Play as if everything is a miracle. When you feel challenged or disappointed or interrupted by circumstances, what if you can put down the resistance? What if you can say to yourself, this moment is coming. It's landed like this for the right and perfect reason. I don't know what that is yet. For me, COVID didn't hit me that hard, but I had long haul COVID. I got really tired really easily and couldn't make it through a day without a big long nap, which then led me to get more healthcare practitioners in my life at a deeper level. And now I'm touching into things in my health that I wouldn't have gotten to. And not we don't have to give thanks for the hardest things. But most of us in this philosophy live our lives as if there's a gift in these things. And there can be. And I think for us, there is and there will be. But I want you this week to ask what if. Play opposite stay. Cultivate a miracle consciousness. And if you forget, tenderly remind yourself that you are a divine being, brought into form with the brilliance and spark. All that the divine is in and as you. And so as I move into prayer, I want you to remember this week all the power that there is, all the love that there is, all the presence that there is within you. The living Spirit Almighty is pouring forth through you. And when you ask, what if? What's mine to do? What's next for me? You are knocking at the door and you will receive an answer. It will pour forth through you as wisdom intelligence. This is the logical outcome of having a close contact with the divine. Your expansion is inevitable. Your capacity to receive is in your breath. Just because you breathe, you can receive. And so I am just recognizing the power in this community. I'm recognizing our oneness with spirit, our willingness to receive, our willingness to allow divine wisdom, intelligence to pour through each one of us into the activity of our life, the life of our family, the life of this spiritual community. I'm giving thanks for everything that unfolds just as it is, knowing that it is all a miracle and that we are all little miracles. We are all the miraculous outcome of the creative power of the divine. And we live in this moment knowing that truth, loving that truth, loving ourselves with extraordinary tenderness into the expression and activation of this truth. I give thanks for all that this day has been, all that has come together in and as the one. I give thanks for the opportunity to be with you today, and I pass this word on to Reverend Jerry.
So taking a deep breath, remaining in that consciousness that has been so gracefully established by Reverend Champion. What a gift this day. Calling forth all the gifts, the goodness of spirit, knowing that there is only this one absolute, powerful, almighty presence, and we are one with it. There is no separation. And I'm so grateful to speak my word this day on behalf of our community, our spiritual home, the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living, knowing that we come together in the consciousness of love and oneness, whether we are coming together virtually or in person. We are completely connected with one another each step of the way. And so I'd like to speak a word, knowing that our nonprofit partner this month, Hively's mission is to provide resources and support to ensure that everyone in the community can thrive. Formerly Child Care Links and Family Service Counseling and Community Resource Center, Hively provides children and families throughout Alameda County access to high-quality social services. What a blessing to have Hively as our nonprofit partner. And I know that the gifts that we give to Hively are very much supporting the community that they serve. And for our planet, Mother Earth, just calling forth the increasingly mindful stewardship of her as we acknowledge the beauty and resilience that exists. We realize and accept the support that we receive from this magnificent earth that we call our home, our earthly home. And blessing our youth and the youth of the world, knowing that they are guided by the loving mind and the heart of spirit. And blessing all those in service, creating a world that works for everyone. And let us now surround in love and comfort and peace of mind and healing for all that have been impacted by challenges in whatsoever form, whether it be disaster or weather or COVID, and particularly for the names on our Ministry of Prayer list this day. For our beloved practitioner, Lewis Thompson, Denise Johnson, the Blake family, Mateo Gurma, Sean Boomer, and for Lita De Seville, who is requesting prayer for Michael, Audra, and Zach Jones. And for Regina Buckwalter, who is requesting prayer for her sister Loretta and her sister Meridia. We are knowing and blessing these individuals, knowing that that healing energy of the divine is surrounding each one to their perfection that already exists within them, for that perfection of wholeness. And for those who've experienced a transition, we're knowing peace of mind and love and comfort for Barbara Tompkins as she continues to release her son, Michael, and for our beloved practitioner, Judith Roberts, as she continues to release her dear friend, Catherine. We are knowing peace of mind for Catherine's family and friends, and peace of mind for Barbara and her family, as they let go and let God be God in their beloved's lives right here and right now. And I invite you to take a moment to go within and call forth anyone or someone or names of individuals on your heart in need of a prayer. Just whisper their names aloud. And knowing that as the names continue to be whispered, that there is a graciousness, a goodness that is taking place, that vibrational energy of love and power, as Reverend Champion so beautifully shared with us this day, that it is weaved within the fabric of our beingness. And so I'm so very grateful for all the words spoken. And I'm just letting go and letting God be God right here and right now, as these words, these prayers are released into the universal law of life that always says yes to our heart's desires. So just knowing this to be the truth, knowing that we are always guided and guarded and directed and protected by a God that knows only good. Please join me in saying, and so it is. Amen. Taking a breath, maybe one more breath. Okay. So thank you again, Reverend Champion, for your beautiful words of wisdom that it have been so inspiring for me and for all of us. Thank you, thank you. And now it is our conscious giving time. This is a time when we get to give back to our community. And it's not even about what our community receives, which really does continue to help us thrive. It's about what we receive as we give. The givingness of spirit shows up in us and gives us that power and that openness in our consciousness that allows us to even receive more and share more in our life experience. So I think we have a slide, and we have lots of opportunities to give, and we have many modalities. Of course, there's the U.S. Postal Service, but we have text to give. We have a donate button on our website. You can even give using Zelle. And again, I know that these gifts that we give are multiplied, pressed down, and abundantly bless our community and all the goodness that it stands for. So please join me now in the giving affirmation. You can place your gift over your heart and let us say together, this gift I give is God in action. It does good work in the world and blesses all of creation. And so it is. So moving right along in our service, I am taking this opportunity now to invite our nonprofit partner to the platform. Ariana DeLilio is our nonprofit partner speaker today, and she's going to share with us about Hively and about how our gifts make a difference for this nonprofit partner. Ariana, are you there?
I am, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Reverend Gary, for the warm welcome. My name is Ariana DeLillo, and I work for Hively, which is a nonprofit. We're based in Pleasanton, California, but we serve all of Alameda County. I would like to thank the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living for sponsoring and partnering with Hively during the month of January. We really appreciate it and cannot thank you all enough for your generosity. So I would like to tell you a little bit about Hively and what we do. I like to describe us as a multifaceted social service agency, and we have been serving the lowest income families for over 40 years. And our mission is to provide resources and support so that everyone in our community can thrive. So some of the things that we provide specifically is affordable mental health services. We are an approved Medi-Cal provider of behavioral care service for children and adults. We also help pay for childcare through subsidies for CalWorks recipients. So those families and parents can go to work and their children can be looked after. And we also have parent education and family strengthening classes, such as children's book club and trauma-informed care workshops. And what I work on is what I'm here mostly to talk about is how we provide economic support through free food, free diapers, clothing, shoes, and other basic necessities. We are actually opening up a store called the Family Resource Center in Dublin, California. It is, I like to describe it as a free store for all of our families and our clients that come in. We serve about 350 families. So they can come into our store and every single thing will be free. So we have a community closet in there. We will have a food pantry and we will also have a diaper pantry. And that's what I really wanted to talk about with you all today is diaper need. We give out about 40,000 diapers every single month. And each box of diapers that is donated is about 1 month's supply of diapers. And what's really staggering about diaper need, which I didn't know until I worked here, is that 1 in 3 families struggle to provide clean, dry diapers for their babies. So a lot of the times they'll have to decide, am I going to buy my child diapers or am I going to have to buy food, or they'll go without food. And at Hively, we'd really like to eliminate that choice for them so they don't have to pick between clean diapers or food for their family. And a lot of the times, if they don't have clean diapers, they might reuse soiled diapers or use a paper towel, or they might use a t-shirt, and that can be dangerous for a child's health. So what we're really trying to do is to raise awareness about diaper need, collect diapers for our families so they can have healthy children who have all their basic necessities being met. And what I like to describe what diaper need feels like is if you can envision an empty toilet roll, that's how we would describe it for us as adults to understand what it's like for those children. So I would love for us all to say some prayers for the children and really focus all of our energy on praying for them. And hopefully we can continue to give them diapers every month. And we really appreciate every donation that we get. Here at Hively, our focus is on trying to provide and connect all of our families with the resources that they need in order to thrive. And diapers is a really, really big one for us at the moment. So I would like to thank you all for letting me be here and speaking with you. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your generosity. And I will hand it off to Alina. Thank you.
Thank you, Ariana, for being here today and for the work you're doing. Thank you to our speaker, Reverend Champion Fleming, who helped us connect with the hows and whys of miracle-minded questions. I'd like to thank our musicians, Cozy and Deb, to Reverend Jerry, our host, Robert Leeds, our miracle-working tech team who once asked the question, what if we could do it on Zoom? And everyone who lent their presence and their energy to this service today. I would also like to take just a moment to thank some folks we probably don't thank enough. One is the person who brings us that fabulous music every week, the head of our music ministry, Andy Robbins, and also to everyone on our amazing host team who perform a vital service, who show up every week setting a tone of peace and good cheer and helping to transition us from the sometimes cacophony of our everyday lives into the quiet of this sacred space. So speaking of sacred space, our practitioner, Bonnie Gonzalez, will be hosting the upper room service today. If you'd like a brief, and I want to emphasize brief, one-to-one prayer with a practitioner, please stay in the call and that will be arranged. Outside of those brief prayers, our practitioners are available for prayer in other ways. In addition to longer individual sessions that some of our practitioners offer, several are offering during COVID a shorter 30-minute session that is free. You can find this information on our website by clicking on practitioners. We also have a prayer hotline where you can leave a request and we will hold your request in prayer during the week. That information is also on our website. Right now it's on our contact page at oaklandcsl.org. So let us turn now to our closing affirmation. And I believe there's going to be a slide so you could read along. It says, I ask new questions and allow the answers to come. Or in the spirit of Rev Champion, what if I ask new questions and allow the answers to come? So now I'm going to turn this over to Cozy and Deb to pray us out with a song.
All right, everybody. Please join as we sing the closing congregational song, Woke Up This Morning with My Mind Stayed on Spirit. How's that? Well, I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Walking and talking with my mind. Yeah. Stayed on spirit. Walking and talking with my mind. Stayed on spirit. Walking and talking with my mind. Stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Everywhere I go, I stayed on spirit. Everywhere I go, I stayed on spirit. Everywhere I go, I stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Morning, noon, and night. Morning, noon, and night. I stayed on spirit. Morning, noon, and night. I stayed on spirit. Yeah. Morning, noon, and night. I'm stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed